Hi everyone. I just got off the phone after a reading with one of my clients who is located in the Bahamas, and I was speaking to her about some of the horrendous tragedies that are going on during this extremely disastrous Hurricane Dorian that is really impacting the Bahamas catastrophically at this time. And being quite separate from it myself in the US, I've seen everything on the news. I've seen videos, and I've seen some of the horrors happening, but until you really speak to somebody who is in the middle of that, it's hard to maybe recognize how extreme it is. And I wanted to make this video tonight, while the hurricane is still going and while it is still extreme, because I thought that maybe we could speak about the astrology of Hurricane Dorian and what astrological elements have led to this hurricane being so strong, so disastrous. We have the Origami signature going on right now, which has the Virgo stellium. And some of you were curious in my live chat the other night, does that have anything to do with the intense hurricane? And it most definitely does. The sign of Virgo is one of the most implicated signs in natural disasters. It's a mutable earth sign, which means a shifting, adaptive earth energy. So you tend to see with a strong Virgo emphasis that the earth is shifted or adapted, or there tend to be earthquakes, and it is peak hurricane season during Virgo season. So it is most definitely capable of expressing itself through natural disaster. And I'm going to talk about some of the points tonight, and why we're seeing such a strong natural disaster during Hurricane Dorian. But before I get deep into it, one of the main reasons that I'm making this video is because I did want to mention one of the disaster relief programs that is working tirelessly to aid in the midst of this hurricane. When I was speaking to my client, I asked, are there any trustworthy causes that are really, on it and trying to really make a difference? And she thought that this particular GoFundMe page was really helping. She's actually in the Bahamas and actually experiencing this. So according to her, this was one of the best GoFundMes to consider, and it is the Head Knowles Emergency Fund. And I took time to donate myself. I donated $100. I think that's such a small amount to help. They're trying to get up to $1 million. I think they're at something like 300,000 right now. And, I think it's going to take millions and millions and millions of dollars to even begin to fix some of this horrendous damage that has happened there. So no donation is too small or too big. And I hope that you guys will go over there and match me, or more or less, whatever you can, because just some of the horrors, and to actually speak to somebody on the phone myself really gave me the wake-up call. I'm like, okay, we've got to maybe get the word out about this, because it's really easy to be separate from these disasters and not have a sense for it. But according to my client, 2 of the islands in the Bahamas are just gone. Like, they're just like disappeared, and just the terror that's happening is horrendous. So definitely check out the Head Knowles relief campaign. Supposedly very trustworthy, and I felt very good energetically donating to them. It felt like the best $100 I've spent in a while. So I'll link that as the first link in the description box, and I'll also put it into the top right hand corner of this video. So definitely go and check that out. All right, everyone. But without further ado, let's talk in hopefully a lighthearted, light sense about some of the astrological angles that are contributing to this. If anyone who is currently in the Bahamas right now, going through this hurricane, sitting through it, be sure to comment below. Tell us how you're doing. We'll all be there to give support and give comfort during this time. And I just really want to build you up and give you encouragement as you go through this torrential experience of Mother Nature. Like, it's going to be okay. You just have to have faith. You have to have confidence it will pass. And you're getting to experience some of the Earth's most potent natural cleansing process, because that's what natural disaster ultimately is it is a purification process that the Earth undergoes to reset itself. So I hope that you've been able to evacuate if you needed to, and if you did evacuate and you're not even near the coast or anything, again, comment below and tell us how you're doing. Tell us what it's like on the ground in the Bahamas. We would love to again hear and give any support that we can. As a lot of y'all know, I have been talking a lot about the origami signature. I've made 2 videos about it so far, and it is a transit that I will flash up on the screen right now that consists basically of a grand sextile. And in order to have a grand sextile, you've got to have 2 grand trines, and this basically creates origami folds. And then there's one on September 3rd and on September 5th. And these origami signatures mark this entire year because it encompasses some of the outer planet transits that last the entire year, and they're angling off towards each other. So you have this Virgo stellium, you have the Neptune in Pisces, and you have Jupiter in Sagittarius. And all of those transits alone have affected the entire year of 2019, and here in September they are creating angles to each other, so they're all coming together and all manifesting themselves energetically. And I can tell you 100% that Hurricane Dorian is absolutely one of the results of this culmination of energies. And why is that? And that's because you have Neptune in Pisces, which Neptune is the ruler of Pisces. It is the ocean god. It is, everyone knows Neptune, Poseidon, also known as Poseidon. It is the torrential, deep ocean, powerful, some of you may have heard of the lore of Neptune's horses, which I believe obviously is like a Roman mythology, and it is, you can see it sometimes in waves. There are pictures. I'll try to find a picture of Neptune's horses here. We have Jupiter in Sagittarius, and which is about centaurs and horses squaring Neptune and Pisces. So you get the effect of Neptune's horses, and we can see that the ocean is ravaging right now. And I think honestly there will be more oceanic disaster, tsunami, earthquake, hurricane, any of the typhoon, any of these types of things. I think for the rest of the year of 2019 will be more potential for them. And we have to first and foremost listen to evacuation calls. This is one thing that my client was talking about that I spoke to, that a lot of people were not adhering to the evacuation notices given by the officials in the Bahamas. And I think that that's one thing that we can all learn from this particular experience of Hurricane Dorian, is that we have to evacuate when those calls come. And that's one thing that I think more spiritually we can all take a note from too. Getting an instinct that I need to walk away from something, getting an instinct that I need to get out of this, that I need to go, but resisting that and seeing how much we pay for resisting the deep inner knowledge of needing to leave something or needing to evacuate something. And deeply, unfortunately, many people in the Bahamas have paid the price of their life for not abiding by that instinctual and factual knowledge of needing to leave. And let's really just take a moment here of silence for them and for everyone in the Bahamas, as I believe that the hurricane is beginning to subside at this point, but of course it is still extreme there, and at this point on September 3rd. And I imagine it will be until September 5th or 6th, astrologically, before things really settle more. But yeah, let's just take a moment of silence and prayer for everyone that is going through that, and think some positive high vibration for them. All right, so let's talk now about Hurricane Dorian and the astrological components behind it. So I'm going to start with one chart that I have drawn up here, and this is for August 24th. This is when Hurricane Dorian was named, and therefore I'm going to call this its birth chart, because that is when it really came into creation. So let's see what we have here. So an incredible chart. The first thing is that mutable cross, and this is the origami signature with the moon in Gemini actually turning it into a full mutable cross. And this is a very near exact cross, and it's all in mutable signs, which are the shifting, changing, adaptive signs. And that means whenever you have a mutable cross, typically in the mundane sense with astrology, you see a big change, even sometimes violence or some type of scrambling, some type of horrendous experience tends to become very at the forefront, like everybody is aware, which is exactly like what Hurricane Dorian has become. And I think with a few other things that have been in the news lately too, there's just been a lot of quite shocking things, and this tends to happen when you have such an exact mutable cross, because the cross in astrology, when you have the 4 right angles coming together, all of one modality expressed, these create sudden, shocking experiences. Not necessarily shocking, but they are not natural, flowing, easy energies. They are sudden, severe things that happen when you get any type of exact cross like this, especially when you have an inner planet, an outer planet, and the moon, which we do. We have Sun, Venus, Mars, Moon, Jupiter, and Neptune. All Sun, Moon, two inner planets, a middle planet, and an outer planet, all directly involved in the cross. So this creates a very shocking, overwhelming experience experienced by humanity. And I think there will be other ones too. And it would have really started during this August 24th time. And I think all throughout September, as we go through the Origami signature, which is a variation of this exact chart that we're looking at right now, there are going to be experiences that come off as quite shocking to people, and we have to prepare ourselves for that and be safe and maybe a bit cautious and tentative during this time, and not being risky, not gambling, not taking a lot of sudden risks. Anything that is dangerous is not so great to be exercised during this time. We want to maybe hold back, especially until Saturn and Pluto get going direct and we move out of this particular signature of energies. So what about this chart has created such an intense hurricane? It really is seen in most of this. Again, we have that Jupiter square Neptune, and Jupiter is about, the biggest, the best, the strongest things, squaring Neptune, which is all about hurricanes, all about ocean activity, all about storms even. So we have the biggest, the greatest, the strongest hurricanes coming as a result of that. And due to it being a square angle, it's coming in a discordant way and experienced difficultly by humanity. So that is explaining the hurricane. And the Virgo stellium aspect of this depicts the earth changing and also the cleanup process and the small things that change as a result of this too. It's interesting that Hurricane Dorian became a Cat 5 right after Mercury and the new moon in Virgo. So this would be after this chart, around the time, I believe, of September 1st and 2nd, right when we went into new moon time. The new moon started on August 30th, but as that proceeded into the 1st and the 2nd of September, that whole period of time shows it grow exponentially. So we have everything move into Virgo. It's like with the new moon, the hurricane also got a new burst of energy and just became so extreme and so over the top. And it really does go to show how powerful Virgo energy is. You know, sometimes people think of Virgo as like a more passive, feminine, virginal, weak energy, but it really is not. It is a very warlike, weaponized, sharp, and lethal energy. Sometimes, like, Virgo can be quite a lethal energy. And a lot of people forget this, especially when you put like Mars and the Sun in Virgo together conjunct. It's a very warlike, disastrous energy signature. And then when you put Jupiter and square Neptune, and you have Moon and Gemini here in this chart coming and just really creating a catalyst, just zooming right through and causing an explosion. It's like the Moon and Gemini lights the fuse here. You do have a recipe for disaster here, and that's exactly what's happened. So that is my analysis on the birth of Hurricane Dorian and what components of the astrological configurations led to it doing what it did and to it becoming as strong as it was. And it's still going, but I think that it will die off around September 5th. September 5th may see another surge, and then it will die off, and it will, by the 7th of September, become much less strong. But the impacts will be felt for obviously a very long time to come, for the rest of the year for sure, and then some semi-permanently. Permanent changes have been made, and that's the maybe the moral to take away from mutable crosses, mutable T-squares like this, when you have inner planets, outer planets, and the moon. It changes things beyond repair to a degree. It makes permanent shifts in the real world. And that's the sun is really the strongest point. The sun is the center of everything, and it's in Virgo. So this is about a shift in the earth. It's about a shift in the actual tangible world. And, having learned from my client that 2 of the islands, and I gotten a message from her which islands they were. It was, I'm just pulling that up here. It was the Abaco Island and Grand Bahama Island, learning that were just gone, like disappeared basically. It's interesting to learn that, and interesting to see that shifting adaptive Earth energy of Virgo being the strongest point in this rare configuration creates two islands no longer existing on Earth. It's crazy to see how the planets truly do affect us, and it's in moments like these that I feel that astrology proves itself. You know, you can see such a correlation between, what are the odds? Mercury, Moon, Sun, Mars, and Venus all very quickly coming together for a short conjunction in the adaptive Earth-changing sign of Virgo. And then to also see Jupiter in Sagittarius, which again is expansion, warlike, centaur, thrust, the biggest, strongest intensifier energy, square the oceanic god energy of Neptune, and obviously square that just said Virgo energy, and the moon in Gemini coming and turning that into a full cross. And it's during that moment that the hurricane was named. It is insane how to see astrology at work and to see it really reflecting the events on Earth. And that's why I wanted to make this video, guys. Truly, I wanted to make it just to get the GoFundMe out there for the efforts, do a bit of philanthropic work here on the side. But I thought it would be really fun to talk about the astrology that contributed to this hurricane too, and this undeniable, truly, chart that really shows how this became so strong, All right, everyone, I'm going to go ahead and conclude there. I just wanted to make something. It's a good, intelligent video for astrology, too. For those of you who've been learning astrology, it shows some of the ways that astrology correlates to the Earth, again, as I was saying. And then, I just wanted to get the word out there, and I hope that you guys will go over and check out the GoFundMe that I mentioned, which I will link below in the description box and put in the top right-hand corner. And if anybody is in the Bahamas or connected to the Bahamas, comment below. And if you guys know of any other sources that are good to contribute or to help out this cause, you can comment that below too. I'm sending you guys a lot of love and light. I'm praying for the Bahamas. I hope that you will join me in that also. Okay, everyone, thanks so much. I hope you're doing great. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and share this to get this out there. We'll be talking soon, everyone. Bye.